No matter what life is throwing at you, suicide is not the answer. Your life is worth living. You are important because God created you, and there's purpose for you.
This is a journey.
Let me take you on a journey.
There will still be the journey.
The journey.
New sheriff in town, and his name is
The journey.
Journey.
This thing is bigger than Nino Brown. This is the journey.
The journey.
What is it that moved you?
The journey. The journey. The journey. The journey.
The Journey Memphis is being generously supported by Nike's Black Community Commitment and Methodist Labanner Healthcare. Welcome to another episode of The Journey. I'm your host, Larry Robinson, and today, as I always say, we got another amazing Memphis icon. But this icon comes to us from Chicago first. But before we go there, we're going to give you our quote of the day. Famous Chinese proverb, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. One step. That means no, regardless of where you're going in life, positive or negative, you got to take that step. We're going to hope that we inspire you to make many positive steps on your journey. But today we have Brother Tom Burgess, straight out of Chicago, Illinois, broadcaster, radio broadcaster, over 30 years of experience in that space, educator, business executive. Listen, without further ado, we got Brother Tom Burgess. How are you, sir?
I am wonderful.
Good.
to meet you. Thanks for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
Pleasure's all ours, and especially sharing your journey with our viewers and listeners, man. It is important for us to really make sure that we unpack your story.
Okay.
So, starting first off, community. Tell us about the early years. What community were you raised in? And tell us a little bit about it.
South side of Chicago.
South.
February 13th, 1951, lived at 6606 South Rhodes.
Okay.
Lived in a awesome neighborhood.
Okay.
We all walked to school. There was no busing, at least in Chicago. And
What was the racial makeup of your neighborhood?
99% black, 1% white.
Okay.
And when we came home from school, it was understood when my mom would work to help my dad out, you go down to Miss Susie's house.
Okay.
And you stay there and you do what Miss Susie tells you to do.
Okay, we're gonna come back to Miss Susie.
Okay.
Outside of your parents, who had the biggest impact on young Tom?
My brother,
Oh, really?
Melvin Burgess, had the
Okay.
biggest impact on me.
Why did he have the biggest impact on you?
Number one, because he loved me,
Okay.
took care of me,
Okay.
and I just wanted to be like him because he was all that and the chips.
All right. What decision did you make as a young person that ended up having a lifelong impact, although you didn't know it at the time?
High school, John Marshall Harlan High School in Chicago.
Okay.
Speech class, instructor knew a DJ at an AM station in suburban Chicago.
Okay.
3 of us were invited to be teen DJs, half hour at the radio station.
Okay.
And after that, that's what I wanted to do.
What radio station?
WBEE in Harvey, Illinois.
Okay, out of Harvey.
Harvey,
All right.
Illinois, yes,
All
sir.
right.
Yes, sir.
All right, now I know you spent some time at WVON too.
I did.
Brother Span.
I
God
did.
rest
Who
his
passed
soul.
recently?
God
yeah.
rest his soul.
Legendary radio station, and was blessed. I know that now. To be able to work there with some of the most legendary DJs in existence.
Okay.
And from there, a stint at a radio station in Little Rock, Arkansas.
Okay.
From there, back to Chicago because I couldn't afford to stay. I was married with kids.
Okay.
And wound up going back to WVON for summer relief.
Okay.
Was offered a job at WDIA here in Memphis.
Okay.
Moved here in 1978.
Okay, hold on. Don't give them it all on the first
okay,
segment,
okay,
Tom.
okay,
Golly,
okay,
man.
okay.
All right, so early on, you mentioned your brother. How different are you from the person that you would dream you would be? You know, we have aspirations of being firemen, policemen, athletes. What about you?
Nowhere near.
Okay.
Nowhere near. My plan was to retire at 45
Okay.
and enjoy life.
Okay.
That didn't work. However, though it is dramatically different from what I thought, the life I have now is just unbelievably blessed.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. Okay. When did you know you were going to be okay? At what point along the journey did you say, you know what, I can do this. I can do this thing called life?
High school.
High school.
High school.
Okay. What was that moment?
My brother.
Okay.
Again, my
Okay.
brother was working for a company as a computer operator,
Okay.
and I wanted to do that.
Okay.
So when I graduated from school, I did that.
All right.
And then radio happened. But in the early years, it was I wanted to be in radio and a computer operator.
Okay.
But compared to what it is now, no comparison.
I had a couple words for you, and I'd like you to give me your first thoughts that come to mind.
All right.
Sacrifice. What does sacrifice mean to Tom Burgess?
Giving up what you think you want for what you need.
That's beautiful. Okay. Legacy. What does legacy mean to you?
Everything to me.
Okay.
My mom and dad and brother are all gone. And legacy has been really profound in my life since they've been gone.
Okay.
And thank God for children, 4, 11 grands, 5 greats, and 5 more coming.
Ooh.
Legacy means everything.
Okay. All right. Last and certainly not least, family.
Everything. Because when you finally grasp that what we do every day has got some ups and downs, in and out, successes and failures.
Right.
Family is there to let you know we still love you, Dad.
Wow.
Everything that you've done, we're proud of. Thank you for being my dad.
I lied. I got one more for
Okay.
you. I
All
got
right.
one more. And as a man of the Kojic cloth, I want to know faith. What does faith mean to you?
My existence.
Okay.
Without it, I am nothing.
Okay.
It's impossible to please God without it.
Okay.
And because of the faith that I have, I can achieve anything.
Okay. All right. Last question of the segment.
Okay?
Now, don't get stumped by this one.
Okay.
Every brother has a moment in their life where they realize they're a black man. What was that moment for you? Hold on for a second.
Okay.
Listen, we're going to be right back on the other side, on the journey, where Mr. Tom Burgess shares with us when he realized he was a brother. Come right back. Don't go anywhere. So I'll come looking for you.
This is a journey.
Let me take you on a journey.
Success in life is not a straight line. There are twists and turns in everyone's life, and the more you know about their story, the more you'll understand the process. Kazuki Media Group proudly presents The Journey, a show that features successful black men in Memphis telling their stories of their lives and the ups and downs they've encountered on their ultimate road to success. We believe The Journey will encourage young men and help them see that life is a journey. Watch The Journey, hosted by me, Larry Robinson. Brought to you by the Kazuki Media Group in partnership with the Delta Boulay. Welcome back to The Journey. I see you stayed, and I appreciate that. Host Larry Robinson, and today's guest is none other than Tom Burgess, Chicago native, matriculated to Memphis, and eventually gonna find out how he got here. But first thing, before we left, we were asking Brother Burgess, when did he realize he was a brother? What was that moment?
That moment was in elementary school. We were Negroes then.
Okay.
And whenever class was over and we would walk from one class to the next, we were always instructed, keep your head down. Do not look up, do not look for it, keep your head down. And walking from class to class, all I saw was students walking with their gaze to the ground. And I knew then, this is not right.
Right.
That was the first, that was the first acknowledgement of what it was.
When did you raise your head up?
When I started high school.
Okay.
Because we had this icon called Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King,
Okay.
who I had the opportunity to hear him preach in Atlanta and at my home church in Chicago.
Okay.
And it was because of him that we realized there is more to you than what somebody sees.
Right.
And never, ever let yourself look back on something that made you feel less than what God made you to be.
All right. Let's go back.
Okay?
Early years, walking to school.
Mm-hmm.
Who was in the household? Brothers, sisters, mother, father?
My mom, my dad worked, so it was my mom. And my brother was at school. He was 4 years ahead of me.
Okay.
And we lived in the community where we all walked to school together.
Okay.
We all came home together. When my mom worked to help my dad out, I was told, go down to Miss Susie's house. And whatever Miss Susie tells you to do, you do. You're gonna stay there until I get home from work.
Okay.
And you better not give Miss Susie any problems, because if you do, it's gonna be me and you.
Well, like right now, I know you like a saintly brother. I can see it. I can see the halo around your head. But I'm sure that's not always been the case.
No, sir, it was not. There was much fear for the May Burgess.
Now, when they was coming home, tell me about one of those times that Tom had to break somebody off something, a little something.
When I did something really stupid, I used to think a whipping, because we were whipped back then.
Yeah.
I used to think a whipping from my dad was a gift, because it was a couple of licks and it was over.
Okay.
But my mother, boy,
Yeah, she gonna talk to you.
She had that rhythm going, you know. And
I tell you.
Yep,
I got a few of those.
All of that. Yep.
Now, I'm talking about when you came home and somebody maybe thought you was, because you was Melvin's little brother, that they could mess with you, and you had to show them a little something.
I didn't have to do that because he did.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
So Melvin was the enforcer.
Oh, yeah.
All right, tell me about one of those. You got something that came to mind.
We were older.
Okay.
And I was hanging out with him one night, and we went to a club, because I was legal.
Okay.
And some guy
So
wanted
Tom
to
ain't
start.
always been in the church. He ain't been a man of the cloth.
No. No, man. I was a mess.
Okay, go ahead, finish the story.
But this guy wanted to start some stuff, and my brother told him, man, just go and catch up with the crowd. This is my brother. We're out having a good time. Leave us alone.
Okay.
And I was with my brother and his friends.
Okay.
So when the guy wanted to make another issue, they just said, you just need to stop before things really get crazy.
Okay.
And I was like,
I'm good.
yeah.
You ain't gonna tell us whether they got crazy or
I'm
not.
not going to go there.
Statute of limitations is over, Tom.
It don't matter. Okay. Not going back there.
All right. Tell me about your fond memories of back during that time.
Oh man, my fond memories of that time were, again, growing up, dinner with my dad.
Really?
My grandma, my mother's mother, would come by. We would
Okay.
have dinner together.
Okay.
My mother's father played in the Negro Leagues,
Okay.
and my grandmother used to take me to Wrigley Field.
Okay.
Greatest memory. We're at Wrigley Field, Dodgers were in town, Jackie Robinson playing.
Oh man.
My grandmother takes my hand, goes down to the gate of the field, and calls, Jackie! This man stopped playing ball and came and shook my hand.
Wow, what a memory.
That I'll never forget.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right, and that is a fond memory.
It is, it is.
Tell me about a bad memory. Tell me a memory you would soon forget.
The bad memory was the death of Martin. I was in high school, came home from school. My grandmother was crying. And my grandma, what's wrong?
Right.
And her words were, they've killed him. And I said, killed who? They done killed Martin. And Chicago exploded, as many major urban cities did during that time.
Right.
That was something I have never forgotten. And I never forgot it because of what my grandmother said. They've killed him. They done killed him.
Okay.
And because I knew from history, they're from the South.
Right.
My dad was from Pickett, South Carolina. My mom was from West Point, Mississippi. And I remember going down for summer vacation,
Right.
what it was like even then.
Do you remember what you felt when you realized that Martin Luther King was killed?
I felt that the leader I most admired, aside from my pastor at the time,
Right.
but the leader that I most admired was taken away. And I quickly learned those that African Americans hold dear are the ones who are going to be challenged the greatest.
You're extremely eloquent.
Well, thank you.
Where did that develop? Is that from radio? Is that from the radio background and the practice that it takes?
It actually came from Progressive Baptist Church, my home church and growing up,
Okay.
where my mom and dad took me to church every Sunday, every Wednesday, every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, all the time, and asked to speak
Okay.
as a child. And it was something that I began to learn and accept that there was something a little bit different. I had this gift.
Right.
And I realized that it was a gift from my Father, my Heavenly Father.
Right.
And as I got older and then got into radio, even though I was doing secular music, I never forgot that start. And it stayed with me all my life.
While you were doing secular music, did any Thank You Jesus, anything come out in the midst of any of that?
As music, as music director for WDIA, we started playing gospel mixed in with the regular R&B.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir, we did.
That was groundbreaking,
It
I'm
was.
sure.
At the time, it was.
Yeah.
So it was nothing to hear Gap Band, You Dropped a Bomb on Me, and then
I'll pray for you.
the Hawkins coming up after that. So it was groundbreaking, but something led me to do that, and I was just being obedient to what I was being led to do.
That's
I
awesome.
didn't know it at the time, but that's what it was.
So tell me how you got to Memphis, the transition, I'm imagining, from Chicago back to the South.
leaving Chicago, getting a divorce, and being stopped on the highway by a state trooper. Man, where are you going? I'm getting out of Chicago. I'm just trying to get out of here as quick as as I possibly can.
Right.
Slow down. Okay. Soon as I knew he wasn't around no more, it was pedal to the metal because I am headed to Memphis.
Well, hold on. Let's go back to that relationship.
Okay.
So the divorce. Any children?
4 children,
4 children.
3 boys and a girl.
What's that relationship like today?
The oldest, not as close as I would like, but my 2 sons, the oldest Christopher,
Okay.
followed by Thomas III, Trey,
Right.
Evan, and my daughter Ebony.
Okay.
I am closest with Ebony, Evan, and Trey more so than Chris. And that's really wasn't my part, but his mom, when we started having problems, because I was not his birth father,
Okay. Okay.
she just kind of separated us, but then that's something I just had to accept at that time.
I got it.
But with the 3, we have our issues from time to time, but I love my kids.
If you could go back and talk to Tom 3 months before that divorce, what would you say to him?
I've just got to get out of here. There's no way for me to stay here
Okay.
because this part of my life is over and a door has been opened. So I'm just going to walk through this door and see what happens.
All right. Let's talk about your career.
Okay?
Stayed in front of the mic
Yep.
many years.
Yeah.
So give us those early years, and what about being a radio personality really resonated with young Tom?
Working for WDIA, the legendary WDIA,
Absolutely.
the granddaddy of them all. And being around these names you might not remember, A.C. Wade, brother A.C. Wade,
Okay.
Robert Honeyboy Thomas, A.C. Muha Williams,
Okay.
Ford Nelson. They taught, I was this hot shot jock coming from Chicago to Memphis, but they taught me how to become a personality. And I will forever be grateful for that because jocks are a dime a dozen,
Okay.
but a personality, I learned while on air, I could determine whether or not a wife or girlfriend was going to prepare a awesome dinner or just go to McDonald's.
How would you open up the mic? Come on, let's throw us back there.
Oh, God.
How would you open up the mic on WDIA?
1070 WDIA, Mark Christian, ready to rock you in your socks.
I love it. I love it.
Mark Christian back then.
Mark Christian back then.
Yeah.
All right, what in life, greatest successes, Tom?
Radio.
Okay.
The goal became, I want to work pop radio. I want to see what that's like. I could do R&B, black radio with no problem, but I wanted, one of the guys that taught me radio said, if you work towards sounding non-ethnic, all kinds of doors will be open to you. And that's what I worked toward.
Was it true?
Yes.
In what sense?
St. Louis, Missouri. I was working at a urban station and there was an opening at a pop station.
Okay.
I applied and got the job.
Got it.
And I asked the program director that hired me, well, I guess I'm going to have to leave where I am now to come here. He said, no, it's 2 different audiences. So I did R&B, and then I did adult contemporary. And the greatest compliment, although it was a backhanded slap in the face, was when my wife and I were looking for a place to stay in St. Louis. I called about an apartment and talked to the owner that had the vacancy available. And she said to me, "We have to be careful about who we let in here." I said, "Really? Why is that?" She said, "Well, because we don't want any of them." And I said, "Okay, so who's the them?" "Well, you know, the blacks." I said, "Well, you're talking to one." And that was the end of the conversation.
Wow. On whose part? Who ended the conversation?
She did,
Oh, okay.
but it was okay with me.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Wow. I wonder how I would have reacted in that situation. Any regrets? Any regrets?
I've had a few.
Okay. From your career. Let's talk about it from a career standpoint.
In programming radio stations, I became a programmer of radio stations, and going back to Chicago, St. Louis, Milwaukee, Memphis, etc., town to town, up and down the dial. There was some unfinished work that I wanted to accomplish in terms of strictly personal success,
Right.
in terms of ratings.
Right.
And we left St. Louis and came back to Memphis for a radio station here that I was program director of. And the ratings started to slip. But I learned doing adult contemporary radio that when you start making some changes to appeal to a broader audience, it's going to be natural that some degree of ratings will fall, but just stay focused on the game plan.
Right.
And the ratings fell. The general manager at the time let me go and gave the position to someone else. And the next rating book, the numbers had doubled from what they had been.
Wow.
So there
Some
was
vindication.
yeah, there was, yeah.
All right, we're coming to the end real quickly.
Okay.
You're talking to that kid back south side of Chicago. You're sitting at the kitchen table eating a bowl of cereal. What would you say to him?
I would say to him something my pastor ends every sermon with, because it is most relevant now. No matter what life is throwing at you, suicide is not the answer. Your life is worth living. You are important because God created you, and there's purpose for you. But unless you are willing to give your life to the one that brought you life, you're going to have some turbulent times.
Right.
But he will take those turbulent times and change the course of your life so that you will be the one in conversation that will speak a word of encouragement to the one that is going through what you're going through, to give them hope. He made it. I can too.
Now, you was talking to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to look right in that camera. And there's many young men that are listening or viewing you right now. What would you leave them with from this conversation?
I will say to you, my young brothers, there is someone who can make your wildest dreams come true. There is someone that will give you peace beyond what you have ever understood. His name is Jesus Christ. And if you will put your trust in him, it's okay to think that you're self-made. But if you're self-made, then God's not real. Because we all came from the dust of the ground. Your life is definitely worth living. Please do not do anything to shorten it, because there is a specific purpose. There's a specific purpose why you tuned in to watch this. And the purpose is, this guy had some tough times in his life. Drugs, alcohol, didn't care. And this guy today asks God every single day, why me? And his answer, why not you? The story that you've got locked up inside of you, somebody needs to hear. So be encouraged to know that no matter what you face, if you're willing to live the principles that God gives you that are found in His Word, the Bible, nothing, no good thing will be withheld from you that's found in the Bible. So keep your head up. Don't lose sight of your dream. Keep the dream close to your heart. Believe that there is something bigger than you've ever imagined waiting on you. And if you will stay focused, you'll find what it is, you'll complete your purpose, and God will say, that's my child. That's what I'm talking about.
Wow. I couldn't say anything that could add to what Brother Tom Burgess has shared with you. I'll only say that keep coming back to the journey. Mm-hmm. We will have more and more of these Memphis icons that will help you determine your path and help you sort out your journey. Till the next time, I'm Larry Robinson. For our guest, Mr. Tom Burgess.
God bless you, man.
God bless you as well, sir. Till the next time, take care. Thank you to our partners at Nike's Black Community Commitment and Methodist Labanner Healthcare. To hear more incredible stories like this, be sure to download the Kadzukian app from the App Store or Google Play, or check out the Journey Memphis podcast on all your major podcast providers. Also, check us out on the Kadzukian Network.